Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer, and today we're here for yet another Civilization 6 First Impressions video because we've gotten the first look for Kublai Khan. So as per usual, we're going to take a look at this video, just nice and casually, give some first impressions. Hopefully this one won't be quite as long because only some parts of Kublai Khan are new since he is leading both China and Mongolia. So what do you say, let's go ahead and get on into this.
Kublai Khan leads China, and Kublai Khan leads Mongolia in Sid Meier's Civilization 6. As the grandson of Genghis, Kublai Khan was born to conquer. His empire ultimately stretched from the Korean peninsula to the edges of modern-day Baghdad. Kublai Khan's unique ability is called Geregae, and provides an extra economic policy slot to any government.
So that's his first ability. He is able to get an extra economic policy slot to any government, which I think is actually a quite strong ability. So there's a lot of civs in the game that will get, abilities where they turn a certain policy card slot into another one, but this guy just gets an extra one for free, which I think is pretty good. Some of the economic policy cards, I think, are some of the best in the game. Those are the ones that would say, double your adjacency bonuses on some of your districts or give you the extra yields based on population. Or there's just a whole bunch of pretty decent economic policy card slots that you can run in the game. So getting an extra policy card slot for free is pretty good. There is another part to this ability, though, so let's go ahead and hear about that.
It also grants a random Eureka and Inspiration when establishing a trading post in another Civ city for the first time.
So you get a random Inspiration and Eureka when you establish a trading post in another Civ city for the first time. So this as well, I think, is pretty decent. Especially, I'm pretty sure they'll talk about this, but this is really decent with China because if you're playing Kublai Khan China, then you are going to get the extra bonus to your Eurekas and Inspirations, which makes them count for more than they do on other Civs. So that synergy is pretty decent. And the other thing is, since this does work per city, you can just continually change up which city you send the trade route to, and that should give you multiple trading posts, which will be good. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Don't entirely quote me on that, but I believe that you can get a trading post in every city, and it's not like one per empire. So once again, don't quote me on that entirely just yet, but I'm pretty sure that's how it'll work, which will mean that you can get plenty of trading posts and thus plenty of Eurekas and Inspirations.
As the leader of China, Kublai Khan's ability to provide additional Eurekas and Inspirations superpowers innovation by complementing China's unique ability, which allows Eurekas and Inspirations to provide more of the research cost towards technologies and civics.
So that's pretty much what I just talked about there, that since you get 50% instead of 40% on both Eurekas and Inspirations, this is a nice synergy for China Kublai Khan.
However, keep in mind that Geregae only activates when the trade route finishes. To keep your science and culture economy consistently booming, pair Kublai's ability with some strategic alliances, good Great Wall placement for extra culture, and the Trade Confederation policy to buff the science and culture generated by trade routes.
So that is something to think about, especially with China, is that, you aren't going to get that trading post till the end of the trade route. So early on, whenever it only takes, when you're sending the trade route to a fairly close city and it only takes 8 or 10 turns for the trade route to finish, then it's really not going to be that big of a deal. But later on in the game, as you put trading posts in all the nearby cities and you have to start branching out, then it starts taking, 30 or 40 turns to just finish a trade route, which makes this a little bit less good. So that is something to keep in mind. I think that their suggestion of the Trade Confederation thing here is a little bit weird because, you can pretty much do that on any Civ. But I guess you do get the extra economic policy card slot, so you can effectively do it for free there. That is one other thing that I didn't mention, is just having an extra policy card slot pretty much means that you decide what this civilization's bonus will be. If you want to get them, I don't know, this Trade Confederation card, you can. If you want to get them serfdom, you can. And it's effectively free because it's something that you couldn't otherwise be running on another leader that's missing out on this slot.
As the leader of Mongolia, Kublai Khan capitalizes on Mongolia's ability to create trading posts whenever trade routes are established. Geregae provides Eurekas and Inspirations as soon as a trade route is created.
So that is something that's pretty good, is that whenever you're playing Mongolia, you don't have to wait for the trade route to finish, but I don't think that that's really that much of a bonus. All that really does is just shift the time frame upon which you get these Eurekas and Inspirations. So although this is kind of a bonus, I don't really consider it to be a huge one. Maybe it'll be helpful early on as you send your first trade route to somebody, but I'm not entirely sure.
Mongolia's trading posts also provide additional diplomatic visibility and combat strength in other civilization cities. Use Kublai Khan's trade routes to fund a vast army, then unleash that golden horde on your trading partners to take full advantage of the combat strength buff granted by your ruthless diplomacy. Whether you choose to lead China or Mongolia, use Kublai Khan's extra economic policy slot for policies like caravansaries, triangular trade, and trade confederation to keep your trade routes as profitable as possible. Also, make sure to send a trade route to every civilization on the map to maximize those Eurekas and inspirations, which only activate once for each civ.
Okay, so actually, yeah, it did say it there. It only activates once for each civ, which kinda sucks, I think. Like that really does not sound that good, just because that effectively means, if you're playing on like a standard map, you get, well, maybe it's decent. You get, what, if you did one to each other civ, so that'd be 7 other civs, you get 14 of each, which would be, well, not 14 of each, 14 total. You get 7 of each, which, 7 extra Eurekas and 7 extra inspirations, that doesn't sound like the best, but I don't know. I'd have to do some math on that to see what the effective culture and science, saved from that would be. But I wouldn't imagine it can be that high. But I could be wrong on that. I might have to see what the actual numeric value of that would probably be. We can do some random assumed calculation based off of some assumptions or something like that. But the fact that it is only once per civ is a little bit worse than I had originally envisioned. The other thing here is that I think that Kublai Khan as Mongolia is really not going to be all that great. I feel like the economic policy card slot and the fact that you get all these bonuses for trade routes, you're incentivized to trade. I feel like that makes Kublai Khan better as a leader of China rather than Mongolia. So as playing as Mongolia, so since you play Kublai Khan instead of Genghis Khan, you miss out on the 3 combat strength for cavalry units and the chance to capture enemy cavalry. So that's one of the best parts about playing Genghis Khan, I think, and Mongolia. So missing out on that in favor of something that makes you less domination-focused, I think, is really not all that great for Kublai Khan, especially since Mongolia is pretty much entirely otherwise geared to be a domination civ. Replacing a domination ability with something that does something else when everything else pretty much works towards domination isn't going to be all that effective, I think. So as China, you will miss out on the extra builder charge, and you will miss out on the extra wonder production. So I think that I think that China Kublai Khan is still a little bit more viable than Mongolia Kublai Khan will be, because you can still, with this extra trade thing, you can use that to your advantage in a cultural game as well. So I think that if you're going to play Kublai Khan, I think that China Kublai Khan is probably going to be better than the Mongolian one for those reasons. As far as my overall impression of this civ, I really don't think he's going to be all that good, just because this bonus, as I mentioned, the extra economic policy slot is fairly good, because that just gives you a lot of flexibility in what you want to choose as your bonus. But the thing about the Eurekas and inspirations, the fact that you only get that once per civ, I think is going to be kind of bad. And just think, if you're someone who plays on smaller map types as well, this effectively gets worse as the map type gets smaller. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well. And it's something that I really don't think it's really going to be that good. As far as my overall rating for this guy, or like my foreseen rating, I would imagine that for China, I'd probably give him, like, I don't know, maybe a B or a C. And for Mongolia, probably a C still, because I think the rest of Mongolia's kit is still, fairly good. But we will see once we actually get this guy, get our hands on him this Thursday. And I will be streaming this on Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you haven't followed me already, go ahead and follow me, twitch.tv/thesaxgamer, and we can try out some of these new civs on Thursday right when they come out. So I guess we might as well finish the video here. I don't think there's really much else said, but let's go ahead.
Will you follow the twisting trails of trade towards innovation or expansion? How will you use Kublai Khan in Sid Meier's Civilization VI?
All right, so that is Kublai Khan. Let me just browse through and make sure there's nothing else in there. So yeah, that's Kublai Khan. As I had mentioned, I just gave all of my thoughts, so I won't repeat them again. But I think that this is honestly probably the most underwhelming of the New Frontier Pass leaders thus far. I'm trying to think of who I would consider to be worse. But I really don't think that anybody that's come out in the New Frontier Pass thus far would be worse than Kublai Khan, which is a bit of a bummer, but not every Civ can be a super insane strong Civ, because then that just throws off the balance of the game. But either way, I think it'll be still fun to try out Kublai Khan, get some different play styles as China and Mongolia. So let me know what you think in the comments section below, but thank you everyone for watching. I've been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for some more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.